What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Breaking Night with BL. Episode number 12, The Dirty Dozen. Shout out to all my graph vandals around the world, putting in work, just relentlessly killing it. Destroy everything. That's my motto. Of course, as always, shout out to homie Swiss Precise, Knights of Bedlam and Horror. Big up to homie Pens. Pens, the amazing artist. And also, I got to shout out to homie Coop, TA7. Coop TA7 blessed me with some gear I showed you last week. Got some stickers. And you know, thinking about Coop, it got me to thinking about BREEZ a lot. Because there's a lot of history of people, how I met them, and where I've been and what neighborhoods. And it's been a blessing. Because, you know, you meet this person, then you go on, you meet this person, then you're over at this person. And I'm going to talk a lot more about my history in Ridgewood and how I met a lot of these people. Because it's an amazing story. And look at where we are now. Teaching graffiti history. It's important. I know last week I spoke a lot about DG, because DG, God bless him, he's always done so many things for me. And for those I didn't mention, DG at some point wanted to put a book together. And he reached out to me and he gave me all of his pictures. All of his graph pictures, all of his art stuff, everything he's worked on, all of his personal stuff. And he asked me to help him. But God bless Jason, man. He passed away. We never got to make that happen. And I was struggling with what should I do with all this stuff I have of DG's. How am I going to get a book out? How am I going to make people aware of this? Because all Jason wanted was for people to see his art and to see what he loved to do. That's all he cared about. It wasn't about the money. So I thought to myself, you know what? I went on YouTube. I've been making a lot of videos of all different stuff. So I made a big collage of all of Jason's pictures. And I put it to some music and I have it up on YouTube on my page. So Treat Street Graffiti is my YouTube page. There's a lot of other stuff on there besides my Breaking Night episodes. A lot of fun videos. And that's important to check out. Because it was important to DG. DG wanted everyone to see and enjoy what he did. But no one enjoys it like me. Because I got to be around him. He was an animal. I love Jason. I missed him so much. But getting back to BREEZ, I found some drawings that BREEZ had done for me. And BREEZ was definitely by far way ahead of his time when it comes to drawing and learning computers and programs. He would draw stuff and he would put it in Illustrator and he would bend the lines and manipulate it and he would be selecting things and coloring it in, and it was all foreign to me. I didn't know nothing about that. But here, he did this TMO logo for me back when I was rapping. Here's another one. BL1 TMR crew. BREEZ is ahead of his time, man. Here, look at this. Another TMR. Anybody knows, when I met TMR, I put that on my back. And that was everything to me. Loyalty and friendship with friends. Yeah, another TMR logo he did. But the gem of all gems is, when I was working on my first album, BREEZ did this album cover for me. BL1 TMR crew. And you know it's the original. Look at the back. All the markers just bled right through it. This, to me, is a super treat. Super treat. And actually, here's the album. My very first album. BL1 TMR crew. Hey, I was just testing the waters, writing songs and rapping. I wasn't the best. And I wasn't the worst either. Trust me. If you listen to what I did back then compared to what these guys are doing now, I'm a much better rapper than these guys. But shout out BREEZ, man. BREEZ definitely super talent. Here, look at this BL1 he did for me. All on the computer. Unbelievable. He draws it, puts it in the program, makes it fresh. I love that. But I'll tell you a funny story. Not to throw BREEZ or anybody under the bus. But long ago, me, BREEZ, and Deck, we used to get busy. You know, we used to geek stores, and for those that know what that is, we used to break into stores at night, rob the place. Besides racking during the day when the stores open, Deck was a genius and knew how to break into stores. And to me, he was the Lex Luthor, the Superman, the most dangerous criminal mind of all time. I learned so much stuff from Deck. One night, Deck's like, yo, we're going to go rob this hardware store. So me, BREEZ, and Deck, we go walking from Middle Village. We go to Regal Park on 63rd Drive. There was a hardware store over there. Not going to say the name of it. We get into this place. Of course, we get in, and like a veteran, Deck goes right over to the aisle where there's flashlights and batteries. So we all get flashlights and batteries. Mind you, the store's closed. We broke in, pitch black, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. We go in there, we're walking around. Now we're looking for paint. And we're looking for stuff that's worth money. Like we all do. So we're walking around. Everybody's got the flashlights on. We're walking around, you know, trying to be on the down low. And all of a sudden, you know, BREEZ is walking along. And all of a sudden, he fell into a hole. And you hear some screaming like, oh, what the fuck? Me and Deck are running to the back of the store. And there was a basement area where there was stairs that went down the basement. But we were so busy looking up in the racks at like the hardware stuff and the tools and everything worth money that we were excited. And BREEZ didn't see it. He just went right into the basement. So we run over, we put the light on him. You all right? He's like, yeah, I'm all right, I'm all right. And he shines on the wall and there's all spray paint down in the basement. So what do? We grab some of those laundry carts. Remember the old carts that the old ladies used to walk around with? You put your bags in with your laundry or when you go food shopping. We got 3 of those big carts and we started filling it up with paint. Next thing you know, we're looking up in the racks. Look at all the tools. We're like, man, look at all these tools. It's worth so much money. But to us, the value was the spray paint. We filled up these 3 carts to the top with spray paint. Made it out of the store, walking up 63rd Drive, took a little turn, going up into Glendale, Middle Village. We're walking along. Now, mind you, we're 3 guys, 3 o'clock in the morning, walking to a nice neighborhood. And all you hear is rattling of cans. We're walking, all of a sudden, you see a DT car coming. Now, we all know what DT cars look like. They're all the same, the Crown Victorias. It's all the same. If you can't spot a detective car, you're in the wrong game. Graffiti's not for you. Living that life is not for you. We're walking along, nice and smooth, nice and slow, and we're all like, what are we going to do? And Deck says, don't run. Don't run. Don't run. I listen to the boss. So we're walking. All of a sudden, this cop car, the detectives pull up right next to us. He rolls down the window, and he looks over us, and he says, hey, you know, there's some more cans in the park up the block if you guys are looking for cans. And without blinking, Deck looks at them and he says, it's a living. Thank you guys. Have a good night. And we all kept walking. They thought we were collecting cans, refunds. They had no idea that we just jacked this store, took all their paint, and we're on our way to Juniper Park to split it up. We got to Juniper Park. We just dumped out all these cans and we started picking colors and cans. Man, what a glorious time, man. The memories are priceless. The things that we have done, probably people wouldn't believe. I could write this stuff in movies, and that's what I plan on doing. So shout out BREEZ, man. Sick talent, man. And on top of that, I've been in touch with BREEZ a little bit. He sent me a couple of these drawings. He's been, you know, working on the iPad. It gets even sicker. Look at this BL1 that he did for me. Unbelievable. And he sent me a couple of other BREEZes. Nasty. Look at this. Yeah, man. Shout out BREEZ, man. Definitely unbelievable talent, man. But let's move on. I want to go through some other stuff that I have. I got this canvas that I got from CAP I want to show y'all. I got this other black book. But since we're on the topic of Regal Park and 63rd Drive, we're going back to the COVID days. When we had COVID, everything was shut down. Nobody was out. Everybody was home. It was graffiti writer's paradise. So me and Pace were out in Manhattan, driving around, catching tags, working our way back into Queens, coming down 63rd Drive, wanting to go to Woodhaven Boulevard and hit some sick spots. As we're driving, I see on the corner where there used to be is a fruit stand there. I see these signs. I see this writing. And I'm like, yo, stop here. Go around the block. He goes around the block and we pull up and I see this thing here. And I was like, holy shit. Never saw that there. When the fruit stand was open, they had all the big bins like with all the fruit in it outside the stores. So it was blocking a lot of the exterior. You couldn't really see what was there. But I get around the thing and I see this thing and it says, Saint is hungry. And I literally was like, holy shit. This has been hiding behind here for 20 years, 25 years. Because the homie Red, TMR, his family had a restaurant over on 63rd Drive. And we used to go there often to hang out and eat. And I guess one night, Saint was going over there. He grabbed a marker and he wrote on this thing, Saint is hungry. And I literally turned to Pace. I was like, yo, you got a screwdriver in your car? And this is what I did. Saint is hungry. Look at this thing. Metal. Pure metal. To me, I was just floored. Because the memories just started to kick back in. And I was like, wow, man, we used to be over here all the time in here. And to me, that's a piece of priceless history. Shout out to Saint, TMR, true legend, vandal. Miss that dude, man. Miss him. But this is all part of the collection, kid. You want treats, you got to go out and get them. I literally jacked that thing right from the front of the store. No problem. Because that's what you do when you want to get treats. You got to bend the law a little bit, you know? You got to be a little on the edge. That's what I love. So, moving on here, I got this CAP canvas. Shout out to CAP, man. Let me tell you something. CAP MPC, if you don't know his history and what he was about, he was definitely one of the most diabolical vandals, sickest tough guys ever. Like, nobody was fucking with CAP, man. CAP would take your shit out and beat the shit out of you. And for some reason, you know, TMR, where we were in Bayside, what we were doing, and MPC, what him and his boys were doing, we were like the same thing. They were in the Bronx, we were in Queens, and we always had a mutual friendship. I know for a long time, Saint was very cool with CAP. And it's amazing. And here, look at this CAP canvas. He drew the train. Classic CAP throw up. It's all dated and signed. Man, history. Important parts of history. Reach out to CAP on Instagram. Buy something from him. Trust me. Worth every dime. It's nice to have stuff from people that just other people don't have. You know, that's just life. But I told you last week I was going to get into this little portfolio I have. And there's some really sick drawings in here. And for those that know, I used to hang out at 5 Points a lot. Lord Rock, a.k.a. Topaz. Shout out Topaz. Gotta love that guy. He brought me around over there. At one point, I brought Germs and Slash. I introduced Germs to Topaz, and they started painting there when Mears was running the place, and it was like Disneyland for kids over there. So, and then I was working on music, me and Jack. You know, It's Cold Heat. We were working on stuff, so I said, Mears, can you hook me up, man? Do a little, like, album cover for me or something? Because at the time, Mears was trying to do music. A lot of y'all maybe don't know that. But he was rapping, he was rhyming, he had some skills. But he's more of an artist. I couldn't see him in the studio really dedicating that much time like we were. I mean, to me, I was living that life. I was addicted to recording, mixing, mastering, the whole process. So he did this little sketch for me. It's basically bar hopping with a Johnny Walker bottle and a Jack Daniels bottle with a microphone and a bar, signed by Mears. And this was the quick sketch. So in here, I have the super treats. Gotta have a portfolio, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna show you a couple things in here that are just super sick to me. Let's pull this out like this. This treat is very fragile, very fragile. Fragile. Here we go. This is the drawing that Mears did for the album cover. This is it right here. And I do believe we even have one of the albums here. Here it is. Cold Heat, bar hopping. Look at this treat, man. Mears, what a talent, dude. Unbelievable. Super grateful. And that was the front of the cover. Let me see if I can dig up this other little part of the treat. And this was the back. Topaz. Topaz, nasty, man. Loved them. Yeah, here you go. This is the back of the album cover. And this is what he started. Unbelievable. I got treats in here for days and weeks and months. So many things in here. But I'm going to show you right now one of the most important pieces I have. Tracy 168. Look at this thing. You see that? Originally, Tracy gave me this print. It says right here, the wild style. Just the wild style. In those days, before they made shirts, they took it and they printed it on paper to see how it would look. So I was hanging out with Tracy. I was in a storage unit with him, and he goes, "Oh, I got a little gift for you." So he gave me this thing, and it was all blank. It just had a tag on there, Taki 183 and Tracy. So one day I'm in Queens. Tracy was like, "Yo, we want to get together, have a couple beers." I had him come meet me in this bar in Queens. And he did all this extra stuff for me. The Tracy face, the lettering. Super duper valuable. Tracy was just a complete gentleman. He would do things for people he loved, and he had a heart of gold. And that's really all that mattered. I miss Michael, man. I can tell you so many stories about Michael. He was funny, man. He had a sick sense of humor. He loved to break balls and make fun of people. You seen some of the footage I have of him, Zim, and Nick 707 painting? Just breaking balls, man. That's what it's all about, camaraderie. We've been snapping on each other all week, every day. Like, "Oh, what the hell is that? Well, where'd you get that can?" You know, it's like, we always had something to say to each other because it was fun. And that's what was important. I loved it, man. Being around on those days, man, to me, I think about it now, it was like, it was pure history in the making. If you weren't there, you wouldn't understand it. I'm trying to bring you all there. I'm trying to teach you all what it was like, what we had to go through to be writers. It was a dangerous time, man. There weren't cameras anywhere, so you were able to do pretty much what you wanted. If you were sneaky. Some people weren't sneaky. They got caught. They got themselves caught up and stuff. They start snitching. And that's not cool. Snitching's not cool. Here. Found one of these other sick black books that I had. Because I do have over like 100 black books. Trust me. This one I had given a Slash one time, and Slash went to town on this thing. I mean to town. Look at this. 2-pager, Slasher. Unbelievable talent, man. Here we go. Clark. Gotta love the homie Clark. Webb. Good dude, man. What else we got in here? We got treats for days in here. Yeah. The other page. 2-pager. BL1 Slasher. WDD. Slash blessed me with a lot of stuff in this book, man. Trust me. KI. Well, shout out KI, FTR. Man. Here we go. I got this from DG. Ghost. A ghost sketch. It was something he had in the book, and he gave it to me. And I was thankful for it. Webb. Look at Arse. Oof. You know what it is. Come on, man. Unbelievable. Look, another Clark. What else we got in here? Unbelievable, man. I go through these books and the things I start to think about, the memories. Yeah, look at this. Mears. Drew a character. Mixing and DJing. JS1, Germs, BL. Unbelievable. What else we got in here? Look at this. Nice Dragon by Slash. Wow. Unbelievable. Had a lot of good times with all these people, man. Look at Fargo. Old school, going back. Fargo. Wow. Here we go. Fuzz. The original Fuzz. History in the making, man. There you go. SAR TMB for BL1. Unbelievable. So much history in here, boy. Yeah, another Mears piece. Pretty sick, man. Sin, BYI. The homie Sin. Gotta love him. Putting in that work. Super DJ Germs. Here you go. The homie. Man. If you weren't there, you wouldn't understand it. I'm telling you, man. Shout out DORO. DORO, TDK. Unbelievable. There we go. 2-pager Giz. Big Giz. 2 pages. Just killing it, man. Just killing it. Another sick Germs. Guy's a maniac with a pen. Just give him a pen. He'll go crazy with a pen. No eraser, no nothing. Don't need a pencil. Yep. Look at this. Giz and Sin. Gotta love it, man. Gotta love it. Oh, Shout out to Chino, man. Chino BYI. I used to hang with Chino all the time, man. Back the blunt parades, man, in the city, before cell phones, we used to have to meet at like 14th Street Union Square or at a station somewhere and pick a time because nobody had phones. Nobody knew how to get a hold of you. You had to just be there. And if you weren't there, you had to wait. Nobody knew if you got in trouble or if you couldn't make it. We would sit around waiting for hours for people. Here, look at this, quick. Quick, man, gotta love it. Oh, the 6 slash. BL1 slash, man. Lord, a maniac. Unbelievable. I can go through this all day, man. So many different things I have. Look at this. DG and CS. History. Pure treats. Pure treats, man. And that's what it is. An unbelievable time. You know, shout out DSR. I was talking with DSR and he tells me that he's in touch with Zim's brother, Steve. And that Steve doesn't have anything from Zim. And I thought, are you kidding me? That's your brother. How do you not have anything that Zim made? So I went digging in my collection. I went through some stuff and I found something that I want to give to Steve because it's only right that you give it to a proper home. I know Steve would enjoy this. To me, it's important because it was a Christmas present from Zim to me. But I am passing this on to Steve. Zim canvas. Merry Christmas to BL from Zim. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. Makes me think about my brothers that we lost. Friends that I've had that I really don't speak to no more because of differences or no matter what it was. At the end of the day, you're alive. Enjoy your life. And I don't mean scrolling through Instagram or TikTok. Picking up the phone, setting up meetings. And I said to myself, I said, you know, I've been living out of state for a little while. I get to see certain people. I speak to a lot of people, but I miss a lot of my friends. I miss a lot of people we used to hang out with. So what I want to do is I'm going to start planning like once a month gatherings. I'm going to pick a place in Queens or Brooklyn, wherever. And it'll be a Saturday where, you know, people usually are not working. Somebody can come out. I'm going to pick somewhere and I'm going to reach out to a bunch of people. Whoever wants to come. It's like a reunion. We're old friends, we're new friends. Ways to politic and build and business. Because my business mostly flourished from being around people, from going out and politicking. You go out, you meet somebody, hey, what do you do? Where are you from? Oh, what you do? Oh, wow, I'm trying to do this. And that's grade A business opportunities. But more than anything, man, I'm tired of seeing friends at funerals. I'm tired of, you know, waiting until they pass away to really talk about people. So this is why I'm going through things and I'm showing love to people who deserve the respect. Even though some people I don't speak to and some people I do. But I'm still very humbled by life, my experiences of what I've been through, things I've learned. Things I've made it through, how many people we lost along the way. DORO. DORO died at 15 years old. 15 years old. And me and DORO used to go out smashing the LIE. We went down Queens Boulevard, crossed the 59th Street Bridge onto the FDR Drive. Me and DORO were just smashing the bridge the whole way back. And you know, I'll tell you a little funny story. One time I was watching MTV Cribs. And they had Mark Jackson on there and he was showing his trophy room in his house. And they go over to this poster and he says, hey, this is my rookie poster when I went to the Knicks. And it's a picture of him with a basketball standing on the 59th Street Bridge with Manhattan behind him. But in the corner, right on the pole, was a DORO tag. And I literally was like, oh my God, did I just see that? So, you know, of course it goes off. Back then, we didn't tape it. We didn't have a recorder. We didn't have remotes like we do now where you could just play it again and watch it again. It was live and it's gone, and I never got to see it again. So I went on a mission trying to find this poster. This Mark Jackson poster. I was on the line searching. I was reaching out to sports people. I was going totally crazy. And then one day I had this idea. I wonder if I could find out who the photographer was. So, doing my due diligence and my homework, I found out who the photographer was. I reached out to him. And I told him the story on how my friend passed away and his name is written in graffiti on the back of this poster, and I'm doing everything I can to get this poster. I don't know where to find it. So he tells me the poster's out of print, but the picture doesn't even belong to him. It belonged to Nike. And I was like, really? He says, yeah. Reach out to this person. He gave me an email to this woman that worked for the company. I sent her a very heartfelt email telling her, I know this is going to sound crazy to you. It may not mean anything to you in the world. But I've been trying to find this poster. I've seen it on MTV Cribs. And there's something on there that is super valuable to me. Very, very important to me. Is there any way you know where I can get one of these posters? And you know what this woman did? She responded to me and she wrote, I'm very sorry to hear about your friend. She says, I'm sorry, but the posters are out of print. If you could find the poster, you could find the poster. But you know what she did for me? She sent me a super high quality resolution picture of the poster. And I went and I made posters myself. Here's that picture. You see that DORO tag right there? That just blew me away with memories of Matt. And we would go bombing and hanging out in the neighborhood and doing all sorts of cool shit. So truly missed, man. 15 years old he died, man. Can you believe that? I'm 53 years old. If Matt was still alive today, he'd be a legend. He'd be a king. For the couple of years that he was writing, he made a name for himself more than a lot of people. Look, here's a picture of him on the train, an M train. I'll tell you a story about this picture. One day I was coming home from construction. I used to be a union carpenter in Manhattan. I'm coming home on the train. I see this thing. I was like, holy shit, I gotta get a picture of this. I literally got off on Forest Avenue. I ran to my house on Palmetto Street. And I ran back to the train station, waiting for that train to come back from Metropolitan Avenue. I got on the train, and I had to take it all the way to Knickerbocker to get the outside, the right side of the train. Because when it was going to Metro, it was facing me on the platform. But going back that way, Forest, Seneca, Wyckoff, you couldn't see that side. I had to wait till we got to Knickerbocker. We got off and I took this picture. And it says 4BL in it. And the story is, one night, I'm out in the city with Chino, TMR guys, everybody from BYI, we're all hanging out. I'm shot. Drinking all night, running around, going crazy. I'm coming home like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm getting off the L train at Myrtle and Wyckoff, and I'm walking upstairs. As I'm walking upstairs, here comes DORO and DG and a couple of other dudes, and they're going to bomb the Halsey layup. So Matt, of course, is like, yo, we're going to do this layup. Come on, I got pain, I got you. I was like, Matt, man, I'm exhausted, bro. I've been drinking all night. I'm so tired. I was like, I'm just not feeling it right now. He was like, no, Dad, I got you. I'm going to put you up. And when I saw this after he passed away, man, everything to me. DORO, truly missed, man. BR, my boy Bobby, man. One of the toughest kids you ever meet in your life, man. He had a heart of 100 people. Bobby would fight 100 people like it was nothing. If I don't know, if you ever seen the House of Pain jump around video, in the orange jacket, The guy fighting, getting arrested by the cops, that's BR. BR was in the video. They actually filmed it and put it in there. I wish I could get in touch with Everlast and some of the crew and see what other footage they have from that day, because they only used a little clip of it. But I'm sure they got the whole fight, the whole argument. I'm sure they got everything. That's something I would love to see, man. Just brings me back. It's amazing things that we've done that still come into fruition in the future and helps you think about the past. And that's everything, man. I lived some life. I couldn't be more happier. And like I say, my new term is I'm not dead yet. I still have a lot more to do, a lot more to talk about, a lot more to show. And that's what it's going to be. So with that, I'm going to let you all go. Enjoy your time with your families and your friends. The summer's coming. The weather's starting to get nice. You know what that means. Much love to everybody, man. Peace and respect.